Bandura's social learning theory posits that people learn from one another via observation, imitation, and modelling. The theory has often been called a bridge between behaviourist and cognitive learning theories because it encompasses attention, memory, and motivation. Individuals that are observed are called models, and in society, children are surrounded by many influential models, these be parents, peers, or even celebrities, who hold some significance in the eye of the observer. And they can be role models where the behaviour is observed and noticed, and then learned and imitated. Whether or not it is repeated depends, of course, upon reinforcement. So famously, the former FBI director J. Edgar Hoover said that persons under the age of 18 commit 53.6% of all car thefts, 49.3% of all burglaries, 18% of all robberies, and 16.2% of all rapes. Now, the media was charged with the cause of these social changes. But is this true? Do we need to think of the children with regard to our behaviour and our role models? Remember the Bobo doll experiment that we talked about in week 1, where adults had to either be nice to a Bobo doll or be aggressive to a Bobo doll. They were modelling the behaviour within different groups of the experiment. There was a non-aggressive group where the adults played quietly with various toys. There was an aggressive group where the adult played quietly at first, but then the model showed aggression towards this Bobo doll, punching it, verbally abusing it, and beating the doll with a toy mallet for 10 minutes. The results were that the children in the aggressive group imitated the physical and the verbal aggressive behaviours that had been acted out by the models. These children were also more likely to imitate aggression displayed by adults of their gender. For instance, the boys who had been exposed to aggressive male models were more prone to be aggressive. In conclusion then, the children observed aggressive behaviour in adults believe that this behaviour is actually acceptable in society. Their aggressive inhibitions are weakened and that they are more likely to respond aggressively in the future. So if children learn from models, not just from direct experience, should we worry about the kind of modelling children are exposed to through television and even video games? Well, it's unclear if any direct relationship exists between television, cinematic, or virtual violence and whether this violent behaviour actually exists. But what we do know is that people vary wildly in their susceptibility to influence by violent imagery. Specifically, certain factors influence the likelihood of a role model being imitated by an observer looking at vicarious learning. That is, observers are more likely to imitate their same-sex models, and observers are more likely to imitate those models from the same age group. Also, observers are more likely to copy role models who are viewed as powerful or prestigious, or even similar to themselves. Now, we all imitate those we admire, don't we? Advertisers routinely use these endorsements from celebrities and sports figures because we want to emulate them. Or they use images of happy, healthy, affluent people because we want to resemble them. So social learning theory stresses the importance of observational learning, imitation, and modelling while integrating a constant interaction between behaviours and personal factors, including cognition and the environment. Both the environment and this plasticity are important characteristics of social learning theory, influencing a person's behaviour. And as a result, social learning theory uses both classical conditioning and operant conditioning. As with any theory, there are both strengths and limitations to the theories, but perhaps one of the biggest strengths of Bandura's learning theory is that he believes that people are capable of learning new behaviours throughout their lives, which is quite optimistic.